Welcome to Kensho Quest. In this episode, we're going to show you why merino wool is the best clothing for travel, for any weather, hot, cold, or for playing with your kids.
1, 2, 3,
Aloha!
We are Kensho Quest.
We travel to open our minds and our hearts.
Let's make friends around the world.
We love merino wool travel clothing because wool is magical. You couldn't make something better even if you tried. We know because we've tried the synthetic travel clothing and we're not going back. On our early travels, we wore long sleeve sun shirts that were touted to be so awesome for being out in the sun all day, great for traveling, but we were not comfortable.
No.
We were hot and miserable and we looked pretty silly.
And especially me, I was really, really stinky.
From that experience, we improved and we switched to wearing super thin, lightweight Pima cotton t-shirts, and that was a bit better. But I remember bicycling back from the temples at Angkor Wat just drenched in sweat. The cotton t-shirt was literally wet, and I kept thinking, there's gotta be something better than this. I first heard about wool as travel clothing from Travel Fashion Girl. I remember reading a couple different articles. One was about purse packing, where instead of just packing carry-on only, this lady was actually packing everything for her trip only in her purse. And you can do that when you're using really thin, lightweight, compact wool clothing. And there was another article about going on a trip where the lady took along a wool dress. And one of the great things was that she was able to hang it up and re-wear it multiple times throughout the trip. So I thought, I gotta get me one of those wool dresses. My first introduction to wool travel clothing was an ibex wool dress that I absolutely loved.
I have to admit, when she started telling me about wool clothing and the fact that we were living in Thailand at the time, I thought she was nuts. No way, no how, crazy expensive, and there's just no way. But then, when she actually got her dressed, I was blown away. I couldn't believe it at first. I'm like, that's wool? No way. It was really nice. Suddenly we weren't frumpy anymore.
But what brought him on board was when I got him a wool shirt, and then he realized just how great it was. So first up, what is merino wool? Merino refers to a specific breed of sheep, and their wool is especially soft and comfortable to wear.
Now, how does this become soft in the first place? You're probably wondering, well, I'm used to wool being itchy. You know, like the sweater your grandma gave you or someone made for you when you were a kid. You're used to it being itchy. Well, that's not the case with merino, and the reason why is it uses very, very thin fibers. Let's use hair as an example. Hair is in the range of about 45 to, let's say, 80 microns, and merino wool strands are about half that amount. So we're talking maybe 15 to 25 microns. So this is super, super tiny, and because of that, it makes it really soft and not itchy.
And also the fabrics we wear are very thin jersey wool, so they're not thick, heavy fabrics.
And I'd also like to add that merino itself has some stretch to it too, which is really nice. And again, it's because of the fiber. The fiber is kind of like a coil, and because of that, when you stretch it, you're like stretching a coil, and then it goes back into shape, which adds to the comfort.
Some reasons that merino wool clothing is great specifically for traveling is it's really easy to put together a minimalist travel wardrobe. It packs down super small and lightweight, so it's great for packing carry-on only. And it's perfect for layering because you'll get added benefits from wool when you layer multiple layers of wool on top of each other. For example, each member of our family has a wool tank top. We can either wear this all on its own on a hot summery day, or we can use it as a base layer. So I can start out wearing my merino wool tank top. I can add a short sleeve top to add some more warmth, and then a long sleeve wool top on top of that. And all that wool will work together to keep me warm. So if we're going to be traveling mostly in hot climates, we pack specifically for that weather, but it's always good to have some items packed just in case we encounter cooler conditions, like maybe trekking in northern Vietnam. So it's great to have something that you can easily layer up and we know we can still stay warm. Also, each of our kids has a long sleeve merino wool shirt specifically for travel days because we normally go from hot weather and it's cold on the airplane and hot weather again, and the wool will keep them warm, but it also won't cause them to overheat.
And that's because it's thermoregulating. Let's think about the sheep. Where are they grown? They're mostly grown now in Australia and in New Zealand. And in Australia in particular, it can get really hot in the outback. So they're hot in the summertime and it can get cold in the wintertime. However, the sheep are comfortable all year long.
So that fancy term thermoregulating means that the wool clothing will keep you warm in cool weather and it will keep you cool in hot weather. Another amazing natural property of wool is that it's breathable, and this is what I love so much about it. You're not wearing a plastic polyester shirt that's trapping in the heat and the sweat. Instead, with wool, it allows the heat to escape, and it also allows the sweat to escape and evaporate away, so you end up cooled instead of being in a drenched, wet shirt. It also has the amazing property of being able to repel some water. So if you get a little bit of water sprinkled on you, you can easily just brush it off. Eventually, once it gets saturated enough, it will get wet. But wool supposedly will keep you warm even when it's wet. So if you end up in some damp, rainy conditions and you're wearing wool, you're going to be better off than if you were wearing cotton clothing.
That's why it's so great in hot climates, because first of all, it doesn't stick to you like cotton does or synthetic materials. To me, that is just a game changer. So yes, you're still going to be hot, but the fact that it doesn't stick to you means that the air is flowing through your body, and that's super nice. And then because the weather can change so quickly in the tropics as well, it is just fantastic. Another great feature of merino wool is that it is mostly odor resistant. A lot of companies are going to say that it's just completely odor resistant. That's not exactly true. This shirt, by the way, I haven't washed it in over 2 months, and I've worn it at least 10, 15 times. How is it?
I can only smell it a little bit. Not even as bad as those cotton t-shirts that he wears to bed.
And the reason why she can smell it is because I've been lazy. So what you're supposed to do is after you wear your merino wool shirts is you're supposed to hang them out. So like here, we have this rack here. Leave them out. So don't just stick them back in the closet. Give it some room where it can air out, and then it won't be as stinky. Another thing when you buy a merino wool shirt is make sure it is 100% merino wool. The reason why is if it's 100%, it doesn't have any synthetic fibers in it, the chances of odor sticking to the material is going to be a lot less. Merino wool by itself naturally is antibacterial. It has lanolin coating on it naturally, which is going to wear off over time. Also, bacteria doesn't like to stick to this fabric in general, but as soon as you start mixing synthetic fibers into it, then it's going to start to stick and stink.
And there are a couple ways to replenish the lanolin, which is great for kind of self-cleaning your wool. Two things we do is sometimes I will spray a little bit of spray lanolin on the inside of our clothing. That also re-moisturizes it, makes it softer, less likely to feel itchy. Or sometimes I will soak it in the sink with some lanolin-rich wool wash, and that's another great way to increase the water repellent properties, increase the stink neutralizing properties, and just keep it conditioned, just like you would put a conditioner into your hair. You can think of the way to care for your wool a lot similar to how you would care for your hair. I want to add another little tip here about the odor resistance is be careful what type of deodorant you're using, because if you're using a really creamy pasty one and it's getting stuck to the armpits of your shirt, then that gives a place for bacteria to latch on. So that's one reason I had him switch to crystal deodorants years ago so that he wasn't messing up his wool shirts.
And that allows me to just keep re-wearing my shirts again and again and again.
That's a property a lot of men like about wool. Me personally, if I'm traveling somewhere like Thailand and I'm getting coated in kind of barbecue smoke and incense and different smells while we're out and about, I do tend to wash my wool clothes daily, but they're super easy to wash. I can either machine wash them on a cold, gentle cycle with a wool-friendly wash, or I can hand wash them and hang them to dry, and they'll be quickly ready the next day. So when I travel, I bring along a little kit that includes some little travel size packs of wool wash. I'll also be bringing along my Aloha Delicates hand washing bag, and that's perfect for washing like a couple pairs of wool underwear, a wool bra, or also my baby has a completely merino wool minimalist wardrobe, and if I just want to wash a super tiny little tank top so he can wear it again the next day, super easy to hand wash it in a Delicates wash bag.
And if you're just lazy like me, hey, you don't have to wash your clothes. Think about that.
Now, most of us are familiar with the fact that wool is good for keeping you warm, but it's also great for sun protection. Recently, I was researching getting new rash guards for a family since ours are getting too small, outdated, and I'm just so hesitant to get those synthetic fibers. And so what I've done for my baby instead is he just wears a long sleeve merino wool shirt. Each of our kids has one of those, and since my baby's not really going in the water, he's just hanging out at the beach, it's perfect. I don't worry about him overheating in it, and wool naturally has an SPF of 40. When I was shopping for rash guards, some of them only had an SPF of 10. Like, what's up with that? That's not even a sun protection shirt. I also ordered myself a long sleeve wool shirt to wear at the beach as well, and I'll be testing that out, see if it works to wear it in the water too. I mean, supposedly wool's supposed to keep you warm even if it's wet, so it may be the perfect natural rash guard.
One more thing I just wanted to add regarding the UV protection is to make sure that you get a dark shirt. Darker shirts work better for UV protection, and I've read that if you wear red or green, even better.
Another great thing about merino wool clothing is it's very multi-purpose. You can wear it in pretty much any situation. If you're out in a city, sightseeing, walking around in the heat, if you want to go out for a nice dinner, I think these outfits would be perfect to wear, except you should put some pants on. You can wear merino wool trekking through a jungle.
And one of the things I really like about it too is, for the most part, it is wrinkle resistant. So if you're out traveling and stuff, you can just take it, shove it in your bag if you're in a hurry, and take it out later, and it'll be mostly wrinkle free. All you gotta do is just put it on, and after a few minutes, most of the wrinkles come out.
I would say the #1 thing that drew me to wool is that it's natural. And if you know me, I'm all about natural. I much prefer a natural fiber over petrochemical-based plastic.
It's also completely renewable. Each year, the merino sheep, they grow a new coat. So at least once a year, snip, 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 we get new merino wool. Now you're probably wondering, are there any cons? And the answer is yes, the cost, which is what kept me away from purchasing my first piece of merino wool.
And if you click through our link to save from Unbound Merino Wool, you may be shocked to see those prices. But you have to keep in mind, this involved raising an animal, feeding that animal, shearing their wool. You're having something that's natural being made for you versus wearing a plastic shirt, which is a lot cheaper and faster to produce.
But take this into consideration. You're gonna pay $75 to $125 for a t-shirt. Sounds crazy, right? However, you are going to have to buy less clothing. What I mean is, you're probably going to become minimalist, so you're not going to need as many clothes. Like, I have 4 merino wool shirts, and these shirts are all over 3 years old, and I'm expecting to last another 3 more years. I'm also currently building out my minimalist wardrobe. I intend to eliminate all forms of other clothing and wear almost 100% merino wool if possible. In fact, for our next travels, I will only be taking 4 merino wool shirts, and including merino wool underwear, merino wool socks, and even a merino wool jacket, which does have a nylon shell on it.
And he has 2 pairs of shorts to wear along with that.
That's right.
And on that price thing, I may have spent $1,000 recently updating my wardrobe, but I'm gonna have one stylish wool wardrobe.
Well, this outfit here that you're wearing right now is pretty stylish.
Thank you.
And for me, again, these t-shirts, look at this. This is great for, you know, going out or going for a hike.
He wears Unbound. I wear Truly Caris. They're a small family-owned business in the United States, and it's where I purchase my baby's wool diaper covers, so I get our clothes there as well.
Another drawback is you might be allergic to wool or the lanolin on it. If that's the case, you probably just want to avoid it altogether.
Sorry for you guys.
Next is, because we are wearing clothing made by the earth, it is food for animals such as silverfish and moths. So you need to protect yourself by hanging cedar next to it or packing it with cedar.
When we're at home, we hang our wool clothing on cedar hangers. When we're traveling, we bring little cedar blocks along in our packing cubes. It's also good to hang it up somewhere airy and sunny when you get to your destination, because moths like dark places. Another possible con is you do have to be a little careful about what type of detergent you use with wool. So you don't want something with enzymes that's going to eat away at the wool. You want something that's specifically a delicates or wool wash, something like Soak, Unicorn Beyond Clean, Caris and You. I can leave some examples of wool washes in the description box below. Also, you might want something like Eucalyptus that has some lanolin in it, so it can replenish some of those great properties like water repellent, help to keep it moisturized and well conditioned.
And one more thing, do not put it in the dryer.
Oh, yeah. Well, that could shrink it, so it's best to hang dry.
But remember, you can wash this stuff. It's not that old dry clean only stuff.
To wrap this up, he's going to share some of his favorite things about wool clothing, and then I'll share some of mine.
First of all, it is super comfortable. Like I said, it is not itchy at all, and it's so breathable. It's great in all weather, so I love that.
It's soft too.
It's very soft. 2, it is renewable. I love the fact that this item is, being produced every single year, and it goes right back into the land. So this is not something that we have to worry about as a source that's going to run out. 3, I can rewear it like all the time, and I love that. I love the fact that I don't have to keep washing my clothes. I don't wash my clothes anyway, she does it, but if I had to, and then I don't need to iron it. So that's just so great. In fact, I'm gonna do a challenge for myself because a lot of people have been wearing merino wool for many days at a time. Well, I'm gonna try to do it for a month straight. So I'm gonna wear one t-shirt and a wool shorts for an entire month, unless it just drives me crazy. So follow along for that.
I'll do a smell test at the end and report back. Now for my favorites. Merino wool clothing is very lightweight and compact. It's easy to wash and to hang dry, and a lot of times when we're traveling, there's no tumble dryer, so being able to hang dry your clothes and have them actually dry the next morning instead of wearing damp clothes is a big plus. I also love that wool is natural and breathable. It just makes it feel so much more comfortable than being in claustrophobic polyester clothes. I like that the clothing can pass as casual, or you can feel a little bit more dressed up, so you don't always look like a frumpy backpacker. It's also great for layering, and it can double as sun protection clothing. So pretty much wool is just great all around. If you know me personally, you know I am the biggest fan of wool, and I talk all about cloth diapering with wool diaper covers over at my Easy Peasy channel. So if you're also going down the wool rabbit hole, you might want to check that out as well.
And that wraps up why we love merino wool clothing so much. If you have any other questions or comments, please let us know.
Our family is preparing for our next international travels. Next, you can watch our video on travel essentials for 2021. Please subscribe for more packing tips and travel inspiration. Aloha!